After improving their scores, Sun Rong and Wang Ling raised their faction's average, making them eligible to compete against the 59th High School in the upcoming sword fighting competition. The teachers of their school are discussing the coming competition and realize that in their long history of rivalry with the 59th High School, they have won only a handful of times. They also discuss Wang Ling, who stands at the top of the chart, but his spiritual magic energy shows null. Meanwhile, Tang Jinzi has been practicing at the arena while a reporter is reporting nearby, filming his practice session. When his name appears on the screen, he is surprised to see his name changed to Tang Birdie 2. During the interview, he challenges Wang Ling and Sun Rong, claiming that he and his team are ready to give their rivals a run for their money. He is confident that his school will surely win like always. Overconfident brats like him always end up losing. A team of 5 students needs to be formed for the competition, and Mr. Wang and Zhuo Yi decide to send Wang Ling, Sun Rong, Chen Chao, and Guo Hao to the competition. Miss Pan objects to allowing freshmen to participate, but Zhuo Yi manages to charm her into letting them join with the Riz level of a seasoned playboy. Froggy 2 is also added to the team, making it a group of 5 with a score of 5,000, surpassing Tang Jinze, who is once again humiliated. After school, the teacher creates a group chat to inform Chen Chao, Sun Rong, Froggy 2, Guo Hao, and Wang Ling of their selections for the competition. Excited and proud, the students share pictures of their impressive swords in the group chat. Chen shows off his massive sword given by his father, while Guo Hao proudly displays his. Sun Rong surprises everyone by revealing that she has multiple outstanding spirit swords, and the one she chooses for the competition is the rarest. The group presses Wang Ling, asking if he has a sword of his own, to which he unimpressively replies with a simple yes. Back at 59th High School, Tang Jingze is determined to beat the faction of 60th High School participants and suggests to his teacher Zi to include a mysterious and supposedly powerful guy named He Bufeng in their team. Then we see He Bufeng beating up several students assigned to call him for the competition, but is left curious and wondering why they need him to compete, but he agrees to join them after meeting Isabel. Wang Ling contemplates whether he could use his powers in the upcoming sword fighting competition against the 59th High School faction. He searches for his spirit sword, going to his busy parents who are watching TV. Suddenly, breaking news reports an explosion at the Shadow Faction's headquarters, and the immortal heroes, including Zhuo Yi, arrive at the scene. Wang Ling climbs to the attic to search for his spirit sword. He sees a bright light coming out of a box. When he opens the box, the spirit of his sword in the form of a little boy named Jinky comes out. He quickly pushes the kid inside like the way I push all my responsibilities away. However, as the spirit of the sword awakens, his force suppression talisman weakens. The next day, the students and teachers gather to leave for Faction 59. Wang Ling brings his tiny wooden sword and is laughed at by the other students. He secretly plans to play sick and quit once they arrive at the other school to prevent participating in the competition. Meanwhile, Zhuo Yi is informed of an issue and arrives at the news of the immortal heroes capturing the pretty lady boss of the Shadow Faction, Jiang Liu Ying. It turns out to be a decoy, and the real boss chuckles in her car, satisfied that she has removed the blockade between herself and her target Sun Rong. She follows the students to Faction 59 on the bus to keep an eye on Sun Rong. On the bus, Wang Ling's spirit sword awakens, and he bribes it with dry ramen to stay low. Upon arrival, the students are received coldly by Faction 59's team and their teacher, Miss C, who also has a rivalry with Miss Pan. She evaluates Wang Ling's force value with a trick that triggers Wang Ling's talisman of force suppression, causing a huge blast. He takes this as a chance to fall sick, to withdraw from the competition, and falls to the ground. Sun Rong rushes to check on him, while Tang Jinze wonders if it's He Bufeng's work, who is looking at the whole incident from a distance. Meanwhile, Zhuo Yi has defused the Shadow Boss's bomb attached to her look-alike. She receives the news of her failure to kill Zhuo Yi, but she, having witnessed the huge surge of energy coming out of Wang Ling a while ago, and after witnessing Sun Rong's affection for Wang Ling, leaves with a new plan in mind. Sun Rong tries to follow Wang Ling, who is being carried inside the school campus on a stretcher, but she is stopped by Tang Jinze. He asks her if she remembers him as they used to go to the same kindergarten school. Sun Rong doesn't pay attention to him and ignores him like we ignore. Spotify adds and forces her way inside, but Tang Jingzi stops her again. This leads to a taunting fight between the two teams, and Tang Jinzi mockingly guarantees Wang Ling's care. However, things take a strange turn when Wang Ling is mysteriously attacked by someone, and his body burns into purple flames. Miss C quickly reacts and extinguishes the flames and covers his body with bandages. Seeing this, Sun Rong draws her sword, but their teacher, Mr. Wang, interferes, and Miss C also disciplines her students. It is revealed that it was He Bufeng who attacked Wang Ling. Later, we see that when the medics open the bandages, they find nobody. Wang Ling had used teleportation to teleport his body out before being wrapped in those bandages. He informs his father about the broken talisman, and they decide to meet outside. The students arrive at the competition area, where Miss Xai explains the rules of the competition to the students. She explains that the students will have to seize all the altars in the arena to win the competition. She reveals that the competition used to be held in 60th High School before, but its site has been changed to their school this time because of the recent Shadow Faction attacks on the 60th Faction School. Suddenly, He Bufeng appears out of nowhere and offers Sun Rong to join them as their 5th member with a rose. However, Sun Rong denies the offer. Chen Chao attacks after seeing He Bufeng trying to flirt with his crush Sun Rong, but He Bufeng retaliates and easily beats him with his superior negative spiritual energy. He vanishes Chen Chao's arm with his powerful negative force and throws him into the air. Wang Ling enters the arena just in time to save Chen Chao and brings his arm back with his magic, but he ignores He Bufeng at first, enraging him. He Bufeng is unable to read Wang's force level, as Wang's force level is infinitely higher than his. He tries to throw punches at Wang Ling, only to miss every time. He is surprised when Wang Ling swiftly takes his rose and passes it to Sun Rong, leaving him befooled. Meanwhile, the shadow boss is hanging from the arena ceiling, looking over the whole proceeding. Somewhere, Zhuo Yi is thinking about the Shadow Faction, and he realizes the Shadow Boss's location and rushes to Faction 59. Then we see that He Bufeng finds the Shadow Boss roaming around the campus. He tries to charm her, but upon being turned down, he calls her old. He Bufeng soon regrets his actions when Jiang Liuying attacks him and throws him to the ground. He tries to attack her by creating a huge blast of negative force, but Jiang Liuying overcomes his force like it's nothing and proceeds to tie him up. Meanwhile, Wang Ling, who has excused himself from the team to get his ramen delivery outside, walks into He Bufeng being beaten by the Shadow Boss. The Shadow Boss kidnaps Wang Ling and He Bufeng, leaving everyone else stunned and uncertain of what will happen next. The Shadow Boss assigns her driver to guard them and stomps on Wang Ling's head, provoking his negative energy and compromising his talisman. However, the little sword boy distracts Wang Ling by reminding him of dry ramen discounts to calm him. Meanwhile, the Shadow Boss plans to lure Sun Rong out by using Wang Ling as bait. She disguises herself as He Bufeng and informs the others that Wang Ling has been kidnapped. He Bufeng tries to talk his way to freedom by telling the old man that he always wanted to join the Shadow Faction and that this is the right time to free him and let him join them. But the old man laughs it off. He Bufeng underestimates the old man's powers, but when he showcases a glimpse of his immense power by shattering the glass windows with a wink, He Bufeng is left speechless. First rule of battle: never underestimate a silent old man. After hearing the news of Wang Ling's kidnapping, his friends get worried. Sun Rong's bodyguard asks his men to tie Sun Rong up and take her away, as he knew Sun Rong would do anything to go and save Wang Ling and walk herself into danger. But Sun Rong beats all the guards and makes up her mind to find Wang and head outside. Miss Shi advises her students to observe the real battle before the competition. Tang Jinzhe doubts Feng's change of behavior and warns his friends about him. Sun Rong and her guards engage in combat with the driver, while He Bufeng is stomping on the floor below. Sun Rong rises to face off with the driver alone, but is overpowered by his superior force level. The old man opens up a portal in the sky from which an army of golden cavalry comes out to fight Sun Rong and her guards, defeating them easily. Just as Sun Rong is about to be defeated, Wang Ling turns back time and takes care of the driver, with Zhuo Yi already present to take credit for helping. In a flashback, we see that the old man was very close to the Shadow Boss and he vowed to stay loyal till his death. He tries to blast his body to kill Zhuo Yi, but Froggy 2 comes in time and absorbs the energy of the blast. Wang Ling decides to leave the real He Bufeng trapped there under the care of his sword spirit, as he hopes that if he is not able to make it to the competition, it will be called off. However, the Shadow Boss joins Faction 59's team disguised as He Bufeng on the day of the competition. As teams enter the arena, Wang Ling's father finally arrives, but it's too late. He is received by Zhuo Yi, who informs him about the broken talisman that needs to be fixed quickly. Isabel's hacking skills lead Faction 59 to land together at the Altar of Earth. She also manages to locate the students of the 60th faction, except for Wang Ling, as his force level was registered as null in the charts. They also didn't locate Guo Hao, as they decided to fight the other four first. We see that Guo Hao was hiding behind a stone near Tang Jingce's group, listening to their plan, but before he could warn his teammates, he was eliminated by Tang Jinci. However, Guo Hao survives due to the substitute dolls that give him life. It's always the fat guys that gets killed first. Team 59 then splits up to combat Team 60 while capturing the Altar of Earth. He Bufeng lands near Froggy 2 and captures the Altar of Fire after a battle. In the battle, Froggy 2 absorbs a huge amount of energy from He Bufeng and informs Wang Lin that with that energy he can act as the seal to hold Wang's immense negative force level. Meanwhile, Guo Hao follows the red-haired guy from Jing's team who is heading to eliminate Wang Ling at the Altar of Wood. At the Altar of Metal, Chen Chao reaches the spot where the sword needs to be put to claim the altar. There he realizes that the leaves are made of metal, and with the wind blowing, the leaves are cutting his skin. He is almost done claiming the altar when Isabel reaches the site. Chen Chao asks her to leave at first, as his family has a rule to not fight women, but Isabel casts a quick web like magic and takes control over Chen's body to move him like a puppet. Chen Chao loses to Isabel with the help of that spell, making him hurt himself. She then seizes the altar, and the announcement of Team 59's seizure is heard across the arena. Meanwhile, at the Altar of Water, Tang Jingze intercepts Sun Rong in the middle of a lake. Both of them summon the spirits of their swords for battle. Tang Jingze recalls how Sun Rong used to be friends with him when they were young, but Sun Rong doesn't bother hearing his lecture and starts attacking him. Tang Jingze's sword spirit is superior to Sun Rong's spirit, and as they fight, Tang Jingze freezes the water in the lake to limit Sun Rong's powers. He is then joined by He Bufeng, and Sun Rong realizes that she can't fight both of them alone. But before Sun Rong is defeated, a loud blast is heard, and we see the red-haired guy flying across the sky like a firework and getting eliminated. The huge impact causes the ice to break, and Sun Rong escapes. Team 59 is now one man down. Tang Jingze seizes the Altar of Water and tells He Bufeng that he doesn't know who he is, but if he supports him, he'll help him get whatever he wants after the competition. Upon capturing a fifth altar, Team 59 is awarded a speed-up bonus, but it halts as the announcement of their capture of the Altar of Wood is made. Guo Hao informs his teammates that Wang Ling has merged with Froggy 2 at the Altar of Wood as the competition progresses. In the Altar of Wood, we see that Guo Hao is engaging in a battle with the red-haired guy, using his mouth cannon spell. Yeah, he randomly throws insults at his enemy using this spell like rocks. Oddly, Wang Ling sits by and does nothing. The red-haired guy starts shouting insults toward Wang Ling, triggering his emotions. As Wang Ling loses control of his force, negative energy leaks, and Froggy 2 bites him to absorb his negative energy. Because of this, Froggy 2 merges with him, creating a spiritual being that's insanely powerful and looks terribly funny. Wang Ling then slightly touches the other guy, but this sends him flying and gets him eliminated. The members of Team 59 panic as they realize they underestimated Wang Ling. However, Tang Jingze devises a plan to avoid Wang Ling and keep watch over the altars while rotating their positions. He deduces that since they lost a member, they'd lose altars if they moved to combat together and would ultimately lose to Wang Ling. Thus, they will keep avoiding the altar where Wang Ling is present and keep the other altars under them. This way, Team 60 will always have only one altar under them, and eventually they'll win the competition. Overconfident Four Eyes probably thinks he's the next Napoleon with his plans. Meanwhile, Guo Hao and Wang Ling in their new form rush towards the Altar of Metal. They wake Chen Chao up and seize the altar. Realizing that Wang Ling has flipped the game, Chen Chao hugs Wang Ling, spreading a smile across his face. On the other hand, Wang Ling's father tears up seeing his son smile for the first time. However, Team 59 quickly retrieves the other altars and flips the score back to 4-1. Sun Rong drops in, and decides to put down a plan to combat Team 59 and their strategy. Wang Ling realizes he can't win the game alone with brute force, so Sun Rong, together with Guo Hao, controls the waters and distracts one member of Team 59 who is guarding the altar of fire. Meanwhile, Wang Ling reaches the altar of water and seizes it, and He Bufeng approaches Chen Chao guarding the altar of metal. Chen Chao recalls Sun Rong's advice that they don't have to defeat their opponents to win the competition. They simply need to stop them from putting their swords on the altar. In the altar of fire, Guo Hao throws a mouth cannon at the opponent, but he trips and causes the cannon to miss, hitting Sun Rong, who is trying to seize the altar. At this moment, Tang Jingzi also arrives and shouts at his teammate to attack Sun Rong. Guo Hao tries to stop him by putting up a barrier from the ground, but Tang Jingzi's sword spirit breaks the barrier, making way for his teammate to enter. As Tang Jingzi and Sun Rong stand face to face near the altar, she is reminded of their family rivalry and refuses to lose. She tries to land a sword on the altar but fails because she needs to hold it to seize it. Tang Jingzi mocks Sun Rong over Team 60's poor situation, and he sends Isabel to keep an eye on Wang Ling. Altar of water. At the altar of metal, Chen Chao does his best to avoid He Bufeng's attacks, as advised by Sun Rong, but the Shadow Faction boss disguised as He Bufeng is too strong for Chen Chao. He falls weak and desperately tries to stop He Bufeng. Guo Hao sees the sensitivity of the situation and decides to unleash his sword's spirit, but he recalls that the spirit of his sword can only be summoned once and only after the sacrifice of another sword spirit. Sun Rong realizes this, and she sacrifices her sword spirit, and a powerful spirit of a phoenix comes out of Guo Hao's sword. The spirit easily finishes off Tang Jingzi's sword spirit. Meanwhile, in a flashback, we see that Chen Chao is crying in front of his father during training as he doesn't want to train hard. In anger, his father throws his sword at him, but a powerful spirit of Buddha emerges from Chen Chao and evades the attack. In the present, when He Bufeng is trying to seize the altar of metal, he is stopped by Chen Chao, who has weakened his inner spirit of the Buddha. The mighty armed spirit helps Chen Chao suppress He Bufeng with its immense power. Tang Jingzi realizes that Sun Rong is no longer an insecure girl, as the announcement is made of Team 60 taking the altar of fire. Surprisingly, at the same time, the announcement is made of Team 60 taking the altar of wood from Team 59. Team 60 is nearing victory, and the Shadow Faction boss is enraged and breaks free from her disguise. She has no interest in the competition anymore, beats Chen Chao very badly, and leaves to find Sun Rong and finish her job. In a flashback, we see that Sun Rong's plan was the key to Team 60's victory. She instructed Wang Ling to separate from Froggy 2 and float over to the altar of wood, while Froggy 2 remained at the altar of water. In Wang Ling's disguise, Froggy 2 was keeping watch over the altar of water, while Wang Ling went to the altar of wood to capture it. Sensing the obvious victory, Guo Hao headed to Chen Chao at the altar of metal, while Sun Rong headed toward Wang Ling at the altar of air, the final altar to win the competition. As Wang Ling is heading towards the altar of air, his father is getting anxious, as he knows that Wang Ling's negative energy will break the seal if his emotions overwhelm him. This was the reason why Wang Ling spent most of his time alone, to prevent any excitement in his life and break the seal to cause havoc. But when he met Sun Rong, his emotions surfaced, and it was hard for him to control his negative energy. When he reached the altar of air, he put his sword in, but as he was holding on to it, his heart started to beat faster, causing the seal to break again. He was on the brink of losing control of his negative energy, but Froggy 2 sensed the urgency and headed towards him. Despite distancing himself from the world from a young age, Sun Rong's light and his friend's company revived Wang Ling's emotions, and he developed feelings for Sun Rong. Just as he was about to give up, Sun Rong appeared, and they seized the altar together. Meanwhile, Guo Hao found Chen Chao seriously injured, and an uproar broke out among the teachers questioning student protection. Suddenly, the shadow boss emerged from behind Sun Rong and knocked the soul out of her body. This was the last straw for Wang Ling. Froggy 2 arrived in time and froze time to stop Wang Ling's energy from erupting. But Wang Ling broke through and went all out on the shadow boss, continuing his onslaught. Just as he was about to kill her, he remembered Sun Rong and regained consciousness, leaving the boss begging for death. Froggy too explained that Sun Rong was warm and breathing because he had stopped time. If time flows, Sun Rong will pass away, and it's impossible to bring her back as Wang Ling shed tears by holding Sun Rong in his arms. While Wang Ling mourns over Sun Rong, he decides to restart the world for the sake of saving her. But even after 4 attempts, nothing seemed to change the events leading to Sun Rong's death. In desperation, Wang Ling turns to Froggy 2, who reveals his power to control time. Wang Ling begs Froggy 2 to turn back time, and Froggy 2 tells him that he'll be requiring a massive spiritual force. Wang Ling easily creates a massive spiritual force and merges with Froggy 2 to turn back time. When Wang Ling wakes up, he finds himself on his first day of school. Everything seems familiar, but he is saved by Chen Chao and Guo Hao from the bullies instead of Sun Rong, and he experiences visions of Sun Rong and moments of déjà vu that confuse him. It turns out that the merged forces of Wang Ling and Froggy 2 have created a new parallel world that is slowly destroying the old one. Meanwhile, Sun Rong has entered the underworld, and the god of the underworld realizes the destruction that the world will face. Because Wang Ling attempted to bring Sun Rong back to life, he decides to send Sun Rong back to the land of the living, and she is revived. Wang Ling's sword spirit explains everything to Sun Rong, and they decide to destroy the new world to save the old one. As Sun Rong makes cracks in his new world, he suddenly remembers her, and she manages to destroy his world and wake him up. They are reunited, and time turns back, bringing everyone back into the competition. This time, Wang Ling knocks out the shadow boss before things spiral out of control. Faction 60 rejoices in victory, and Sun Rong as well. She runs over to Wang Ling, but they are stopped by the interviewers. Wang Ling's father finally arrives with the talisman, but he has to make a choice. He can accept the talisman and go back to having dormant emotions, or he can have a relationship with Sun Rong. He chooses to put on the talisman for the sake of everyone's safety, and chooses to sacrifice his special feelings for Sun Rong.